I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
All right, welcome back from that break. If you're joining us, it's Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. And I have Emmanuel Michael joins us this morning to look at the trending stories from the beautiful world of sports.
Good morning, Tempo, and good morning to our viewers out there.
All right, let's start with athletics this morning. As from the home scene, some para-athletes in Kwara State yesterday shut down the state stadium in Ilorin for hours over the alleged marginalization of their ranks being orchestrated by the executive chairman of Kwara State Sports Commission, Bola Mogaji. This certainly not a very lovely idea, if you ask me. The para-athletes besieged the stadium facility, shutting out athletes, coaches, and other workers from gaining entrance into the stadium. When para-athletes goes on protest, I mean, it doesn't tell well at all, regardless of what could be the problem.
Yeah, I think for me quite disappointing, quite embarrassing for the way the para-athlete has been treated over the years in different states, the country at large. You know, I think they deserve more better treatment compared to what they are receiving right now, and they need to make their grievances known. And the only possible way to, you know, draw the attention of the authority that be is to shut down the stadium. Nobody comes in and nobody goes out. It became so disturbing that it has to take the intervention of the, you know, special duty to the governor, talking about Abdurazak Jida, you know, to also, he was able to quell the situation. He was able to calm down the situation. It took him almost 1 hour to be able to interface with this para-athlete and also promise that he's going to, you know, ensure that their challenges or their grievances is being addressed. I mean, it's not something that you may want to think about. It's not something that is very good, because for me, they mention a whole lot of things: lack of employment, marginalization, and all of that. So I think it's quite disappointing. They need to be properly taken care of, just like every other athlete that is representing the state as well, because they have paid their dues as well, truly deserving. Whatsoever belongs to Caesar, give it to Caesar, you know, and that is for me the way to go. They need to be given more preferential treatment, because they have done a lot in the past.
And of course, you know that the special duty to the governor, Abdurazak Jida, and special assistant on security, Moshood Gobia, were brought in police to enforce law and order before free access into the stadium was allowed. After an hour of negotiation with the aggrieved athletes, Jida promised that he would take up the grievances to the appropriate quarters. But speaking to newsmen at the stadium, Teslim Balogun, a pioneer powerlifting champion in the state and leader of the protester, led that Mogaji has thoroughly marginalized the special athletes in the state, shutting off from gainful employment with the commission, among other allegations. And I mean, this is just one among many, and it looks like a recurrent, you know, a recurring decima in the state. For me, I think that I mean, special athletes that have done so well, especially those of them that have done so well. I mean, you need to look at the way they are living their lives. These are athletes. Some of them have done so well for Nigeria, you know, at large. The state they're coming from. There are employment in the ministry. You know, there are employment that they can benefit from. I feel that some of these athletes should be given, you know, a place. Like you said rightly, you know, it looks like every year we have one issue or the other. Today is Kwara, tomorrow will be Rivers, and the other day, the other state, that time will be Delta. And so I think that the sports ministry needs to attend to this. I mean, we don't just need to have FAs in different areas or sports ministry gaining chunk of budgetary allocations. If they cannot employ them, then the budgetary allocation given to some of the states, I think, should be, you know, should be channeled to helping some of these athletes have a good life, because I mean they deserve a good life, especially for those that have done well for Nigeria?
Definitely, they deserve a better treatment, like I said earlier, compared to what they are receiving right now, because they've paid their dues, they've done their best, and they're the best possible way to also, ensure that you cater or reciprocate the gesture to these para-athletes is to treat them very well. They complain about a whole lot. They talked about employment opportunity. When it comes, they are always overlooked. They are not being taken to consideration, despite having done a lot for the state and the country at large, which for me I think it shouldn't be. They should be given adequate treatment just like every other person. Throw the platform open. If the employment opportunity comes in, give them, carry them along, make them feel part and parcel of the system, and by so doing, I think all of these challenges and grievances wouldn't have come up. But then when some of these basic things is not put into consideration, it also inflames their angers, and they can't also, go the violent way. The only possible way to express their grievances is to take to a peaceful protest by sealing off, the stadium, not allowing workers to come in, and by so doing, government will take them serious, the authority will take them serious, and that is what happened. It had to take the intervention of the police force, courtesy of the special advisor to the governor, to be able to calm down the situation. I think for me, there needs to be considered a lot.
It needs to be considered a lot, and we hope that the special advisor has promised. I'm sure that they are going to quell the situation and ensure appropriate, they will look into these quarters and ensure that these para-athletes are, well taken care of in the state. Not even good, because it's even happening a few months to the para-athletics, Paralympics, and we hope that some of these athletes will be selected. Kwara State are known for bringing some of the athletes that represent us at that level, so we expect them to be well equipped, well prepared, well motivated, and well energized, to flag to hoist the flag of Nigeria in the different activities. Away from that, now let's talk some athletics. Of course, the continental athletics competition that went on, is gradually getting momentum, because as it comes to a climax, Toby Emotion yesterday did so well for Nigeria, won gold medal, led the team that won gold medal in the women's 4x100 relay at this year's championship in Douala. And this looks like a continuation of what they did at the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, an impressive one for Toby Emotion, leading the horse, clinching gold medals at the Paris Olympic game in the possibly 4x100 meter relay race, compared to looking at what they've done so far. Despite some challenges, hiccups here and there, issue of organizational structure and all of that, but then they were able to put that behind them to go for the gold, which is very, very important for me.
Very, very important. And also Justina Eyakpo Bayon, Tiba God bless, Lion Kaolajide, as well as Emotion, won the race with a time of 42.73 seconds. The West African rival, Liberia and Ghana, came second and third respectively. Nigeria has never lost this event at the African Athletics Championship since 2018, and Emotion was part of all the three teams. In the men's 4x100 meter relay, Nigeria came in second, with Ghana claiming the gold medal. The quartet of Kenyan Sola Ajayi, Oretise Isekiri, Alaba Kentola, and Gossen Brume clocked 38.84 seconds. Ghana won with a time of 38.63 seconds, while Ivory Coast claimed the bronze medal with a time of 39.77 seconds. Away from that, athletes at the ongoing African Championship in Douala, Cameroon, are poised to pull out of the championship due to poor organization. According to update from Douala, athletes, including that of Team Nigeria, are not happy about the level of organization in the country, and they are pondering pulling out. Of course, we'll get to hear more of that particular one, but let's talk about what transpired. It looks like Ghana, when it comes to the 4x400 meter, as well as 400 even, Ghana and Ivory Coast looks like the shining light. With the way our boys have done, we would have done so well, in that category. And this tells that a lot of work needs to be done in that regard. Look at the way consistency from the women, but when it comes to the men, the same thing we saw at the Commonwealth Games, hosted by Ghana. Was it Ghana who hosted the last time? Okay, I think the one that we just concluded that Ghana had
All African
Games, I beg your pardon, yeah. The All African Games hosted by Ghana we saw how Ghanaians also displayed excellently in this category, winning the 400 meter. But when it comes to we here, we need to reach. For me, I'm bothered about the Olympics because if we have this quartet representing on that level and we cannot win the 100 meter with a good timing, I think it's something that one should think about. You know, like the women, we should think about the men, what to do to ensure that they get more race timing, better timing at this level.
Yeah, I think for me it's quite worrisome. Not a sensational display from the male counterpart. I expected them to also, you know, do what the male female counterpart did, but they couldn't do that. I think for me, look as though Ghana, they are beginning to give us trouble, especially in the 4 by 100 meter, you know, relay race for the men category. I think they also did that also at the just concluded game few months ago out there in Ghana. They also won the gold medal, and we continue to play the second and third fiddle, which for me is not satisfactory compared to the arrays of stars that we have in this category. I expected us to be doing better, possibly get the gold medal and also keep ourselves in shape for the Paris Olympic game. If we cannot, you know, maneuver the likes of Cote d'Ivoire or Ghana, is it when we get to the world, you know, Olympic game before we start thinking of how to maneuver other countries, maybe likes of Canada, United States of America, who are very, very good in this area. So for me, I think a lot of work needs to be done by the male counterparts so as to ensure that at least we reclaim our place of pride and honor in Africa first before heading to the world. Though there's little or no time left for us to start, you know, working on ourselves. But then I believe individually, internally, the athletes as well, they need to also up their ante, improve their game so as to ensure a better performance at the Paris Olympic Games.
At the Paris Olympic Games, we want to ensure that our athletes are better, you know, prepared, and for us to have a maximum performance, you know, as we continue to count down to the Olympics. Away from that, now let's talk some tennis. And Raducanu, you know, says that she has rekindled her love for tennis, and she's excited about what she might now achieve. The 21-year-old Briton spoke in April of being mentally and emotionally exhausted after losing heavily to Argentine qualifier Maria Lords-Carl in the Madrid Open first round. She then missed the French Open to ensure she was fully fit for the grass court season. Having endured an injury-plagued last campaign last year, she returned to competition at the Nottingham Open earlier this month and enjoyed a rewarding run to the semi-finals. I think it's gradually good that she's, you know, gaining momentum, even if she's been plagued. Of course, a Grand Slam winner is a Grand Slam winner, and that's why more attention is even get towards her side because of the way she won the Grand Slam and what played out after then.
Yeah, I think for me, it has been an injury plague 2023 for Emma Raducanu with that waist and you know, ankle operation that she had in the past couple of months. Right now, I think injury has blighted her performance so far in the last year. But I think from all indication, looking at what he's saying, it looks as though she's poised to come back very strong, and she's willing to actually give it a good shot this time around. Let's hope that she rediscover that form that I've also carved a name for her. For me, it's going to be a great one. She has also decided to skip some of the tournaments so as to get you know, proper fitness before she can bounce back into the court very strong. So for me, I think it's a nice one, nice idea for the British, especially in an Olympic year where you expect most of you know, British players out there, especially our tennis players, to be doing well. But we know that over the past couple of months or years, right now the British players have not been at their peak, you know. So I think it's a big challenge, but then I think there's light at the end of the tunnel. And now that she's beginning to, you know, feel more of herself, and you know, she's showing this sign of vibrancy, it's a clear indication that possibly, just like she said, you know, that she also, you know, want to rekindle back the love for tennis, and she's very, very excited, said by the 21-year-old. So for me, I think it's a plus for the British contingent for this year's Paris Olympic Games. She can gain full fitness and be part and parcel of the British contingent. Is going to be a plus to them.
It's going to be a plus to them. Let's see how far. Of course, a lot of tournaments are still going on in preparation for the Wimbledon Open that will come up very soon, and I can tell you for sure that massive preparation for that one. We also saw some of the game that has gone on. Britain's Harry Dart overcame Maria Boskova in a very nervy encounter to progress to the second round at the Eastbourne International Open. And of course, this is one of the tournaments that a lot of person want to prepare. It looks like the last tournament before Wimbledon comes up next, next week. And I tell you for sure, from next week Monday, it promises to be mind-blowing because the Wimbledon would have started on the 1st of July, and a lot of preparation for that particular one. Let's move on now, and let's talk about some of the happenings in tennis. But then it looks like all eyes now gears towards the Wimbledon, and we're already counting down. It is 6 days to the start of the Wimbledon. This is the third Grand Slam of the year. The first Grand Slam we saw was won by a certain, in the female category, was won by the man who, the female, Aina Sabalenka, did so well in the French Open, in the Australian Open, back-to-back win for her, what she did last year. But since then, we have not seen her in fine fashion. We also saw a certain, Sinner showed
very well. I think some of these players as well want to use it as a build-up, as a great momentum to get back their mojo, to get back their form for the Paris Olympic game. Of course, you can't also take away the fact that this one matters a whole lot because a massive point is at stake. Monetary involvement as well. These are some of the incentives that is going to make the Roland Garros even more exciting. So we expect some of these big names to bounce back in this very one and also showcase their mettle and strength as well. So I think some of these mini competition ongoing over the past 1 month right now, some of these players were using it as a dress rehearsal for the Roland Garros, which is for me very, very important for some of these players. Some of them are bidding to also improve their rankings, and that is why some of them want to take part in it and also ensure that they do pretty well, not just participating but also going very far in the tournament. So I expect some of these big guns as well to be part and parcel of this one. Preparation ongoing by most of the players out there, and they sure is going to live up to the expectation because some of these players, like I said, they want to use it as a stepping stone for their career.
And of course, we'll see how far the British players are already preparing massively for this one. It is their home soil, and the Lebanon, they want to show strength. At least we expect that with the names, with what they've done, some of them have done so. Harry Dart, even Emma Raducanu, can pull a string, even if she's not one of the most consistent players this year. But what is the expectation for some of the British players?
I'm not expecting much from these British players because over time, when you raise high hope for them, they just crumble like a pack of cards. So for me, I'm not expecting any of these British players to make any headway. But
Novak Djokovic also intensified preparation for the Wimbledon, and he says that he will only play at this year's Wimbledon if he can fight for the title. What does that mean when you say fight for the title? I'm wondering.
What he mean by that is that when he's 100% fit, because that is only when you are going to fight for the title if you are 100% fit, and he has made his intention known and that he truly want to gain full fitness before he can be able to take part in that very one. If he doesn't gain full fitness, it means that he's not going to win it, he's not going to compete favorably, and that is what he's saying out here. But I assure you that if he get 100% fitness, definitely Novak Djokovic is no pushover for me. You expect him to do the needful, which is by going back to fight for his #1 spot after being dethroned by Yannick Sinner. As it stands right now, he's seated in the 3rd position as a world number 3rd because of his low level of performance so far this season. So for me, I believe we want to also gain that full fitness and also to come out gun blazing in this year's tournament so that he can be able to reclaim back his #1 spot.
Reclaim back his #1 spot, and of course, the last time he pulled out because of a meniscus in his right knee at the French Open and had surgery less than a week, 3 weeks ago. I hope he's fine and better now. to compete. We'll go on our first break. When we come back, we'll have more stories here for you this morning on Sports Talk.
Every day, our lives are changed by history.
We are one people, all of us.
Leaders, politics,
Nobody's ambition is what they blood.
I have fought very firmly.
natural occurrence, war, and the world economy.
I belong to everybody, and I belong to nobody.
ATN covers it all on ATN Politics today.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing.
Honourable
You human trafficker.
Honourable
You're a human
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
right, welcome back from that break. If you're just joining us, is Sports Talk here on Atlantic Television Network. And we're still looking at trending stories from the beautiful world of sports. Let's wrap up with the sports and let's talk Formula One. It's no longer news that Max Verstappen continued his blazing form at this season in Formula One, winning the Spanish Grand Prix, where we saw a few minutes, delay that caused Lando Norris competitive in that particular one. Lando Norris, though, came second, but he has said that he will continue to push harder to win more races this season. He is now 69 points behind Verstappen, and we have 14 races to go to the end of this Formula One season.
Yes, can this be achievable? It's a big question for me that he need to answer, talking about Lando Norris, because Max Verstappen has made it 7 wins out of 10 races, though in the last edition, Lando Norris actually came very close, just 2 seconds adrift of Max Verstappen in the finish line, which is for me very, very close. But we still have like 14 races to go. 10 have already gone down, 14 to go. There is a possibility that if he continue to push from what we are seeing, he might just possibly win 1 or 2 races again before the end of the season. But giving Max Verstappen a run for his money or total dominance to dethrone him, I think that would be very, very difficult. But then if he continue to push hard, then just maybe he might win 1 or 2 in the remaining 14 races to go.
Away from that, now let's talk football matters, and we'll start from the home scene. We are Rivers United have embarked on an end-of-season break. This was disclosed by the general manager, Dr. Okekpaluku, who praised the team's player and officials for their tireless effort and dedication during the recently concluded season.
Yeah, I think it's a way of trying to also instill that unity among the team after the end of the season. Club chairman, the board members as well, the people that matters also gather these players together to give them word of encouragement as well, and all of that. Also, the players were able to give them a feedback as well. Also, thanked the management as well for the support as well. Though, despite the fact that they couldn't achieve their goal for the season, which is gaining a continental ticket, but then they've also deemed it necessary to also work in synergy so as to even have a more better season come next season. Though some players may be leaving, the management has also thanked the players that will be leaving, and those that are still left behind, every support will be given to them according to K. Paloko when he was speaking to the players yesterday. So for me, I think this synergy, this understanding, this interface between the players and the management will go a long way to also help them improve on their course come next season.
Yima Mwagba was one of the players, and maybe we hope to speak with him this evening live on air on Come for Sports Extraordinary to tell us more how the season, in his own perception, how the season ended. But for Rivers United, do you think that this season, how will you define their capacity, define their role, and define their achievement this season?
Well, I think the only way to describe their season is, I won't say very poor. They had an average season, because they were taking part in Confederations Cup and also competing for the league title as well. But then they got knocked out in the Confederations Cup, and in the league, they came back, tried to at least wrestle the likes of Enugu Rangers and Enyimba, despite the fact that they had about 6 outstanding games. They couldn't make it count, but finishing within a respectable position, you may want to say, but then they missed out on a continental ticket. Also got knocked out in the President Federations Cup. So we want to say it's a disappointing season. Looking at the pedigree of Rivers United as a team, it's a disappointing season, but then there are some positive as well to take home and work on it come next season.
Work on it come next season. Hopefully, like I said, we'll get to hear from him live on air today, when he will be interacting with us and taking us through some of the happenings and what the preparation is, in that light. All right, we'll continue to X-ray the clubs in Nigeria, some that have done so well, some that were mid-achievers, and some that were losers. But this time, Enugu Rangers are in cloud 9. Of course, they are still in a jubilant mood as they celebrated with the fans at the Opera Square in Enugu yesterday. They are the winners of this year's NPFL Championship, and they arrived Enugu yesterday in grand style, having conquered the season and also won in Jos yesterday against the first day against Gombe United. What a way to climax the season, Mike.
Yeah, very impressive season that Enugu Rangers had so far. I think he must also give it to them. 38 games played. I mean, for me, very massive. 21 games won out of those 31 games played. 10 draws and about just 7 losses so far with a total of 70 points. What a way to cap up a season. And also, despite the fact that they had already won the league with a match to spare, they did not give any chances. They had to also win even the last game, despite the fact that it was a dead rubber game. But then they need to do the needful, and that is the spirit of a champion. That is the spirit of a warrior. So for me, Enugu Rangers, very impressive season that they had so far. After 8 years, because the last time they won it was dated back in 2016, and since the formation of Enugu Rangers, about 54 years down the line, they've made it about 8 league trophies, which for me is very massive. The only club that is ahead of them is Enyimba of Aba, who is also a very strong contender this season before Enugu Rangers had a bit of them. So generally, I would say that Enugu Rangers had a very perfect season, and that is why they were crowned the champion.
That's why they are crowned the champion, and we hope that very soon we'll get to see how it all plays out. And for Enugu Rangers, will continue to savor this moment for a very long time. And while Kwara United have expressed its readiness to strive hard to compete for a continental ticket next season, the club general manager Bashai Badawi said this in a statement after the final game of this season, in the Nigeria Premier Football League. And the Harmony Boys, as are called, played on the continent in 2022. Badawi said that the Harmony Boys will work hard to make it a reality come next season.
Yeah, I think they should start doing the walking and stop the talking right now. If they want to come back to reckoning, bounce back to 2002, where they also got a continental ticket, they need to start doing the needful right now. Get quality players out to the ranks of what you have. If you have players that you need to lay off, let them go. Bring in fresh legs, and cut costs as well. So for me, I think they just need to start planning right now. The season is over. Have 1 or 2 weeks break, possibly, then regroup back and start to work on the reason why you want to, achieve the aim or the goal which you have actually set for yourself. Because for me, it's not good enough coming to the media to talk big. You must also accompany some of this loquacious talk with a big action.
Sometimes I just feel like some of these talks are political in nature, to regain their... Yes, because I don't even know if some of these teams, they do post-mortem, evaluation of what has played out. If they do, I mean, some of the managers will be dislodged. Some of the technical advisors will be dislodged, and that's what I'm just thinking.
Yes, here the way our things function is that most time we are good in deploying fire brigade approach. Catch it quick when it is hot. That is a pattern we adopt here. There is no time for proper appraisals after the league has done and dusted. You need to take time and do just like what Manchester United did. So many persons were of the opinion that Eric Ten Hag should be booted out of Manchester United job. But the authority, they were very calm, very adamant. They had to take their time. 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line.
Exactly.
To take the total appraisals
of all that played out in the league.
All that played out in the league so far before you think of sacking the coach. And they came up with a different decision and said that the man is going to stay.
And I mean, to be fair to them, sorry Mike to cut you, to be fair to them, like you said, I mean, the indices are sure. Yeah. There are indices that you look at to measure the performance of the coach. Yeah. If the performance of the coach is based on tactics, then you can now say, okay, if the downfall of the team or the less achievement of the objectives of the team is down to the tactical ability or inability of the coach, you can ask, okay, based on the tactical ability, we have all done these ones, we have fulfilled these ones, but in this area, you should have done better, and that was not, and that was why we failed. So, on that basis, but I think that when you have an overall evaluation of a team, it gives you an ample opportunity to have a clear, unbiased opinion on a particular coach or the team, and then you can now ascertain or assert your influence on whether to sack the coach or to keep the coach.
That is the way to go. You must keep record, take statistics, take stocks, and that is the way you got to evaluate coaches that did well and did poor. How many games did they play so far in the season? How many away games? What are the challenges? If there is any, what are we doing to also, arrest those, challenges come next season? We played 38 games. How many points are we able to amass? How many home wins did we have? How many away wins did we have? These are the way you do proper analysis and be able to, draw out a conclusive opinion and say, yes, this is the angle we fell short and this is where we need to improve on. But sometimes some of those things is not done here. You just wake up every day, you take a spontaneous action. And for me, it doesn't work out that way. You continue to take spontaneous action. And many times you get it wrong. If proper statistics, if proper data is not put into consideration. I mean, the world has gone computerized these days. You need to document everything. You need to, take a proper analysis of every activity of a professional football club such as Kwara United and see where you are missing the links and you'll be able to connect the dots. I think I need to get my, UEFA license A. I'm not going for license B.
Okay.
I want to go for license A before I think of applying. And even if I'm applying, I need to take out my time because for now I'm on a sabbatical.
Oh, okay.
But then on a serious note, I think for a club such as Kano Pillar, with their rich history, with their pedigree in the Nigeria Premier Football League, it's not good finishing in the 11th position. Way too poor for Kano Pillar so far. They need to do something about it, and one of the way they are going is looking for a new coach. Let's hope that they can be able to find a new coach that will be a perfect fit and that will understand the culture of the Kano Pillars team and also work with them to ensure that at least they improve come next season.
Improve come next season, and let's see how it all goes. And I can tell you for sure that a lot. The Nigerian Football Federation are targeting. They are targeting to bring in Renard Harvey, who understand the terrain of African football, to be their next coach.
Yeah, I think for Harvey, he has an in-depth knowledge of the African football. Don't forget, he also win the African Cup of Nations with Zambia, surprisingly in 2012, as though that was a fluke, according to some person. But he also repeated the same feat in 2015 as well with the Ivorian national team. So for me, I think he has a depth knowledge of African football, and I just think, maybe, he may be that man that is going to change the tide around for the Super Eagles.
No doubt, 55-year-old, they understand the terrain of Africa, and like you said, it will be good to get to see him. I'm only wondering how far he can cope with the Super Eagles and the politics. We have a peculiar history when it comes to football coaching, and I just hope that they will. But the NFF, they're looking for a new coach for the Super Eagles following Finidi George's resignation from the post. Now look at the way they're putting it now, following his resignation for the post, and I'm wondering. I mean, the NFF will not cease to amuse us.
Even when he resigned, 48 hours, Ibrahim Guzal still came out to the media to say that he's not aware
that is
that you need to just resign. So sometimes everything is just shrouded in secrecy in this very country. But especially when it has to do with matters that touches the heart, the matters that these are core ingredients, these are core issues that has to deal with Nigerians. Of course, football brings a whole lot of happiness. It brings joy, and it is a binding force here in the country. It doesn't matter the angle, the region where you are coming from, so long as Super Eagles is playing and doing well. You can be in the same viewing center with an Hausa man, Yoruba man, anywhere you feel happiness, you feel joy. Whenever anybody scores, nobody asks, is it Ahmed Musa that scored a goal, or is it Chidozie Awadi? Those things doesn't matter. So these are some of the smaller things that bind us together, that create that unity, that affinity among us. But when that affinity is disconnected, because of the poor performance of the Super Eagles, then everybody begin to go apart, and that is why you begin to know that this man is not a Western man, this one is from North. But when there is that bond, that love, that happiness because of what the Super Eagles is doing, that togetherness will be there. So for me, many times they joke with serious issues, such as issues that touches the heart. You and I, you know, we are aware of the fact that some persons lost their life and they just concluded African Cup of Nations during the penalty shootout. And that is to tell you how passionate the Super Eagles fans are. So for me, I think we should be taking things very serious, especially when it has to do with something that unites us. You know, so I think the NFF, we need to do a lot and stop playing and joking with serious matters such as the Super Eagles issue.
Let's wrap up the show this morning as we move to the Euros 2024 ongoing there in Germany. And I can tell you for sure that Italy